All right, so as you saw, I changed the floor in the basement, and I also did some more work without recording it again. And we've got finished walls in the basement, and I'm really digging this. I will tell you in a second what I am going for with this brick and endstone. But first, I kind of wanted to go over what I plan to do with this space. This is not finished yet, but this is a good start. I created this special area. Basically, I'm modeling my basement after 19th century basements and earlier. I wanted something that had the rustic feel of a North American cellar that I'm familiar with. And I was looking and being inspired by quite a few pictures of 19th century cellars. That's why we mentioned in the last episode changing the floor to dirt and packed mud. And I've added a little bit of podzol to give the feel of, you know, maybe there's a little bit of dust and litter on the floor. Or some areas that are a little more densely dirty, per se. Of course, I wish that there was a different combination of floor. Like, the floor noises always throw me off a little bit. The sounds that bricks make when you walk on them in this game can sometimes throw off the feel. Because I don't, the bricks are packed, but I just don't know if that would actually exist. I don't know if that would actually exist in a basement, but I think it breaks up the floor texture, and even though it makes that noise, I kind of just try to ignore that, because it should just all be like that pat, pat, pat sound, in my opinion. But I've also put in these mushroom blocks, so that creates a different, I don't know. Anyway, that's all here and there. That's neither here nor there. But yeah, you can see these little indents in the wall, and my thinking here is, if you watched one of my most recent episodes, I said that I wanted to put bottles of wine down here. And I'm thinking that, like, over here will be like a workbench of some sort. And in these cubbies will be some wine, maybe. Or in front of them, I haven't decided yet. But I'm going to use statues and probably bottles of health. Potions of health, rather. Potions of... I'm gonna find out what different colors of potions I can play with that look like real life wines. And I'll put them on racks down here. And the reason why I chose the blocks that I did, like I said before in a previous episode about this kind of floor, this would be common in a cellar because you would want a porous floor to allow the temperature, the ambient temperature in the cellar, to be that of like a cave or a cavern. And it's generally speaking about 55 degrees below a certain point in the ground at all times. I live in Wisconsin in the United States, in North America, and here in Wisconsin we have some caves ourselves. Cave of the Mounds is one that I've been to quite often, and Cave of the Mounds, yeah, it's always like a nice chill 55 degrees in there. It's also a little bit humid, not noticeably so necessarily, like in terms of like discomfort, but like you get the vibe that, oh, I could store some wine and cheese down here. I could put some wine and cheese in here. And that's kind of what we're going for with the cellar. It's a rustic house. My wife did tell me that some of the accoutrements on the outside of the house make it look like the Hansel and Gretel house. So I'm thinking about getting rid of the glowberries on the outside. But that's coming. But anyway, a rustic house with a rustic basement. maybe the basement and this project itself will be like the beginning of sort of reviewing the house overall for that rustic feel and making some tweaks. But for now, we're still focusing on the basement. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. So the choice of wall. First of all, I didn't really realize this, but Endstone kind of resembles limestone a little bit. I don't know if you would agree with that, but I think that to a degree it does. But more so than that, I was kind of paying homage to another thing about Wisconsin. I mean, caves are not unique to Wisconsin, so Cave of the Mountains is not necessarily a Wisconsin story. It's more of me describing how caves work. But no, this wow, I'm getting all over the place. But this is to me representative of another classic thing that's only really found in Wisconsin. There's a kind of clay in southwestern or southeastern. Southeastern Wisconsin has kind of a special kind of clay that has a lot of calcium and magnesium in it. And this dilutes the iron to the point where normally like clay, like on my first floor, like clay might have a reddish tint like this red terracotta floor. But in Wisconsin, there's a certain kind of clay that when you fire it, it has this kind of cream color. And in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, one of our largest cities, you can find a lot of this cream colored brick. And it's called Cream City brick. And Milwaukee even kind of at times has been nicknamed the Cream City because a lot of the architecture, a lot of the buildings at one point had these bricks like this. A yellowish, creamish colored brick that is not mass produced enough to like be world renowned. It's, you know, it's regional. So yeah, I think this cellar is sort of halfway paying homage to the cellars of yore, but it's also sort of paying homage to the kind of cellar that I would find here in my state, in my birthplace. So yeah, that's right. I've lived in Wisconsin my whole life, so now you know a little bit more about me, unless you already knew that. But yeah, I think I need to go to bed because it's raining and it is dark outside. And one thing I'm noticing that I should tell you about while I am walking around here is I have installed, I'll put on the screen exactly what textures I have updated, but I've been using vanilla tweaks to update the textures. Clean glass is one of them, as you can see here. And yeah, down here earlier we were looking at the Endstone, and I added Variated Endstone so that the textures are a little bit different throughout. I didn't want it to be the same texture repeating, and just adding a little bit of variance here and there wherever you can with texture packs and resource packs. That can really help. And yeah, I'll just, like I said, that's on the screen right now, so you don't have to worry about that. Going up and looking it up. And then I'm also going to post it in the description somewhere, maybe. I'm going to redo my description a little bit and make sure that you know more about my specs. Because I also want to share what mods I'm using and all that jazz. But yeah, that's pretty much everything we have for the basement for now. Oh yeah, and as before, if you watched last episode, you know that the way to get into the basement, mine, the secret mine, it's not so secret now because I just told you about it, is not with that 6th book, actually. That 6th book is how you close it. Yeah, this is the 2nd book. That's how we open it. You probably couldn't even hear the door opening, and look at that. It's right behind one of these little cubby things. I'm really happy with this. Yeah. Let me show you a little bit of progress on the mine, but I haven't officially finalized my plans for this. I kind of want there to be a staircase down into the mine, and I don't really have a mine yet. I kind of just... I mean, I do have a strip mine that I started, but it's been very haphazard so far. But I do want to have these water elevators. We jump down here, fall into water. This one is currently unsafe. I will try my hardest not to jump down it. But eventually this is going to be a water elevator upward, up to the top of it. And for now, I will just use this rocket to get back up. Oops. Ow. Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this area. This is still a very heavy work in progress. I am going to make multiple levels of mining because we're at level 48 right now. That's the best place to get coal. It's one of the best places to get iron and copper. I know I saw some copper around here to help illustrate that. Yes, there's some copper here. Y48 is a great level to get those minerals. So this will be a mine level itself as well. And eventually, as I dig down, I'm going to be making pathways to the nearest points of interest. Like, we're going to have to find ourselves a trial chamber. We'll have to find a deep, dark city. And that's on the list, because I definitely want to make an adventure down there. I need to get those discs. And, oh, look at that texture change. Isn't that cool? I like the lever that has this red glowing indicator that it's actually working. Yeah, I'm really excited about the developments that have been happening inside the house. And just make sure it closed with free cam. Like I said, it's cool. You can't even hear it, so it's super secret. Even though you know all about it. And anybody who watches that plays on my server will now know how to get into my mine. That's fine. Next thing I wanted to talk about is I'm really excited for the next Minecraft update. I'm not necessarily talking about the one that we have not installed yet. I'm not talking about, what's it called? Chaos Cubed. While I am excited for that, I am really excited about the Dappled Forest, because the Dappled Forest has shown us some variation in color, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the taiga biome, what I have learned about the taiga biome, and you can correct me in the comments if I make any mistakes, if you know more about taiga than I do. But it's come to my understanding that taiga is the Russian word for kind of what you would say is mostly one biome, but also has two transition areas. A transition from temperate forests into the taiga in the south, and a transition in the north into tundra. And what I've learned is that while I don't really like the trees that Mojang has produced on its own, these are to some degree accurate to what happens in the actual taiga in the middle. But what I noticed is that there's some trees. The trees here are all these evergreens, all these spruce. And I want more variety, but I want it to be a little bit accurate to what might exist in real life. And what I learned is that at the transition point to tundra, there can be different kinds of trees. And I think maybe in the temperate zone as well, there can be, like, in a temperate southern zone, you might see a transition from, well, the kind of forest that I have on the other side of the lake here, which is a oak and dark oak forest. These can sometimes be found at the transition, and you might get some non-coniferous. You might get some deciduous trees. coniferous meaning conifers, meaning needles, and deciduous meaning leaves. So yeah, you might have a blend at the edge of deciduous going into your coniferous trees. But then at the tundra transition, you get other kinds of coniferous trees. And one of those coniferous trees, which I should put a picture of on the screen here so I can not just be talking at you while looking at the game, is a, what's it called? It's got a special name. Aspen. An aspen tree. Aspen trees have the almost like a birch-like bark, a white bark. So we've got the planks we need for that. But the dappled forest is adding red and yellow leaves. And as you can see on the aspen tree, they have yellow conifers going on. So I think yellow is going to really add something. And also the soil that's in that biome, I think it would blend in really well with the podzol. And so yeah, I think I want to make this a tundra transition zone, so to speak. And so at the outer edge will be some aspens that sort of tower and create a little bit of variation on what trees are out there. And then, so maybe not to my south, probably to my north here, because that would be more lore accurate. Lore in the real world. So maybe over there would be some aspens. And then over here in my area, I'll have a bunch of the spruce trees. And to the south, maybe to the south here, I could have some deciduous going on. But I don't want to bite off more than I can chew. I don't want to make any 100% promises, because landscaping is more of an art than it is a technical building thing. So yeah, I kind of wanted to make sure that I set some style guide ahead of time. And so maybe so to speak, that's my style guide, that if I do any deciduous, it'll have to be to the south, which look, it's already kind of like that. Apparently I have the forest to my south as well. So that makes some sense. But yeah, to the north we need aspens. There's other kinds of trees that fit into this sort of category, and I need to learn more about them to be able to build them. So that's enough rambling, I guess, about trees. And yeah, I figure maybe I should try to create a wine bottle thing down here as part of this episode, and then we'll make a conclusion on that, and you can judge it. I think I'm going to do that off screen. I'll record it with Flashback Mod to make sure that you can actually see the process. Sometimes a little bit of time and a new mod can go a long way. And I didn't know that the server I'm on uses Armor Poser instead of statues. I made a statues book, and that didn't work. So I used Armor Poser instead, which, to be honest, sounds kind of funny to me. You some kind of armor poser? Yeah, I made this giant scaffolding, and yeah, it's still gonna take some time to put in some wine bottles, but if I put in potions behind this mesh net and kind of have the corks showing through like slightly here, with a little bit of the color. I'm going to put like health potions. Those will be red. We might even get whatever the purple potion would be. Maybe some honey bottles for mead. And I'm going to add maybe one more here. And that's why I'm kind of screwing around with the floor here. I've decided that I need to make at least this entrance by the next episode. I need to come up with a way that I'm coming through here. And so far it's kind of tricky because the reason why I'm worried is that these are two giant statues. This is the head of the statue, and I put it looking down at a 90-degree angle, like looking down in front of it. So, but it's also 3.25 times the size to get the head to be that big. So, way back here, there's the statue, and I've locked the interaction, so you know others can't really necessarily destroy it or whatever. But I don't want it to move anymore, and I can copy the pose, and I'm gonna put it here again, and then I'll be able to walk through. But there's gonna be so many statues in this area that it'll be impossible to change the floor at that point. So it's about time that I beautify this area. So there's another project to add to the to-do list. So originally what I was going to do is put my statues book up here in my bookcase, but statues is not the thing anymore, so I guess I needed to do some updates on this. So I still haven't done that moss farm, but I really think I might change it. Maybe a garden instead. I was thinking about putting a moss farm underneath or as a building within a garden area, because, well, Ole already built a greenhouse, and, well, I think it's a cool idea. I think in my area that it would be more rustic to have like an actual like wildflower garden or something. And, well, I still need to finish the West Nether Tunnel redstone at the beginning. It's kind of a shame that there's still building materials just sitting there, but we've already updated the basement floor today and the basement walls. The mineshaft stairs is something I'm going to have to continue to look at. What did I just say? Wine bottles. Mineshaft entrance. Floor and walls. And just leave that for now. You don't want to always overdo it, but it goes right in that slot. I was going to put statues there or there. Too bad. So sad. Maybe I'll start writing a book. Maybe I'll start writing a book in the game or something like that. Maybe a diary of happenings. Who knows? I think it's just fun to have that interactive bookshelf. Anyway, I'm going to put this stuff away into random... I'm really getting an inventory monster. But yeah, anyway. Oh, there's one other thing I want to say. Yeah, this. So the cask. This cask that I made. I put this tap lower, and of course, it's more accessible now. You know, maybe I'll put like a jug there. That actually would be perfect. And then this is, yeah, that's the tap. And because of this mod, this resource pack that I have, well, that's kind of a problem. Well, it's always going to be like this, or I'll change the design even more over time to account for that. But yeah, it almost looks like it's indicating that you've still got some in there. That's kind of neat. That's a vanilla tweak that I mentioned earlier. Yeah, so, and then in different areas, I'll probably put like composters Some people say composter. I say composter. I will probably put those in various areas so that it looks like there's some bone meal or like, you know, maybe like rotten food in things. Kind of, you know, Baldur's Gate 3 taught me that in your rustic setting, you're always going to find some rotten food in a basement somewhere. So that was stored and maybe didn't get eaten on time, and then they were like, well, what are we going to do with it? Well, throw it in the bin. So over here, I don't know yet. It's a work in progress. It's a basement that I struggled to finish. It's probably, but I just it's probably the last thing that the basement was the last thing that I did essentially for this house, and so moving forward, the house is pretty much finished. I think on my own, on my terms. Wow, I'm running out of steam. I think that's it for this one, though. Catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.